This video is sponsored by Cohen Financial. More on them later.
You get a lot more for your money in the Valley. In today's episode, we're going to review 4125 Royal Crest Place. It's got 7 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms, 11,500 square foot of living space. It sits on a 36,355 square foot lot. It's priced at close to $15 million. That puts it at $1,303 a square foot. If you're new to the channel, I first tell you guys 3 things I like about it, then 3 things I don't like about it. And then we will analyze how this property is being marketed. And then at the end of the video, we're going to use an artificial intelligence tool to see how much prices have already come down and how much they're forecasted to come down in Encino, where this property is located at, in 2023. 3 things I like about the property. Number 3, scale. I love the dimensions. I love the ceiling heights. I love the open concept. But I also really like how they've used these paneling to separate spaces to keep the energy of that room by itself, but still not shut off the energy to everywhere else. It feels open at the same time and cozy at the same time. I really appreciate that. Number 2, privacy. Located in Encino, great location, but this is a very, very private lot. It sticks out a little bit, so you have no one looking into your space, which qualifies it for a lot of celebrities who live in the LA area and want to get a bigger house on a bigger lot with views in Encino, away from the paparazzis. This definitely qualifies. It's the end of a cul-de-sac. It's just really, really good. Okay, the number 1 thing I love about this property, the combination of land and view. You really get the best of both worlds. You have a huge backyard, you have an infinity pool of a great size, and you get views. It's fantastic, right? If this house was in Beverly Hills or Brentwood with this type of view, it will cost you at least $40–50 million, right? Okay, before I tell you 3 things I don't like about it and tell you the prices in Encino where they're heading in 2023, you should know that I always get my loans from Mark Cohen because he immediately tells me if he has the best rates, and when he doesn't, he introduces me to someone who does. Here's his phone number, give him a call and tell him Arvin sent you. Okay, 3 things I don't like about it. Number 3, finishes. They're good, don't get me wrong, but they're not ultra high end. This is 1 level lower than what you would see in Bel Air, Brentwood, Beverly Hills, Malibu, right? It's just 1 notch lower, and that is a negative. Now, the second thing I don't like about this property, it's the fact that the house sits on the street. There's not enough front setback. It's literally right there. There's no approach. There's no frontage that you can see, and it just doesn't have that element of anticipation when you get to the house. Bang, you're inside the house, you know? It's not ideal for ultra luxury. Now, before I tell you the number 1 thing I don't like about this property, if you like to work with me, I sell from Sherwood Country Club to Studio City, from Malibu to Los Feliz. If you live out of town, you want to purchase in Los Angeles, I know most of the neighborhoods and I can help you out. Okay, the number 1 thing I don't like about the property is the fact that it's northwest facing. It's not going to get that much natural light. It's one of the big negatives of this property. I always like to see south facing or southeast, southwest properties. Those are ideal. You're going to get the most amount of sun from morning to sunset, and that would be ideal. Okay, now before we get into Encino prices and how much they're forecasted to go down, as far as marketing goes, I think the agents have done a fantastic job. The marketing, the photography is excellent. However, they only chose to shoot this house in twilight, and I especially like their photos, especially the first thumbnail photo. It encapsulates everything about the house. It's modern design, that it's a view property, that it also has a huge backyard. It's just a fantastic photo. But if you really want to take it 1 level higher on these really expensive properties, it's really good to shoot them in at least 2 or 3 different lights. This way, you can kind of tell a story in your listing presentation from morning to dusk, how your experience will be if you lived in this property. Okay, let's talk about prices. According to zipsmart.ai, home prices have come down 1.5% from their peak in July and are only forecasted to go down 1.5% by April. Okay, let's look at the 6 indicators right below to see if they validate the artificial intelligence forecast, right? The supply is red hot, 129%. There are 129% more homes on the market than they were last year. And at the same time, there's 28% less demand compared to the same time last year. The owner occupancy is fantastic. This is a great sign. And this is probably one of the reasons that is holding this zip code and not letting it crash. And it showcases that also in the median listing month over month, meaning the sellers are not budging. They're not reducing their prices. Now, this algorithm is very responsive to the inputs it gets. And every month we get new inputs that we enter the model, and that changes the forecast. So this is not something to look at and say, oh, it's just going to stabilize. If conditions change, forecasts change. And if you want to be updated, like and subscribe, hit the bell so you can see these videos I make and you can get updated on your local zip code. And if you have a request, you can request it in the comments below. I would love to make that video for you. And remember, the content of this video is purely my personal opinion. Real estate analysis is subjective by nature. And if you like this video, you will probably also like this video. Tell me in the comments below if you agree with my strategy or if you think there's other reasons why this property hasn't sold. I would love to hear that. And thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.